Welcome back, guys. Did you know that a company is building hotel in space? For that, keep watching the video and stay till the end. This is Lighted Sky. Let's get started with the space news. ISRO launched PSLV C-51 from Sriharikota yesterday at 10:24 am. It carried Brazil's Amazonia 1, which weighs around 637 kg. It is an optical Earth observation satellite. Earlier, Pixel's satellite was to be launched as the primary, but due to some technical faults, the Pixel cancelled its launch and the Amazonia 1 became the primary of the launch. The rocket carried 19 other satellites. Amazonia 1 satellite would further strengthen the existing structure by providing remote sensing data to users for monitoring deforestation in the Amazon region and analysis of diversified agriculture across the Brazilian territory. Amazonia 1 is a sun-synchronous satellite, the first one to be fully designed, integrated, tested and operated by Brazil's National Institute for Space Research. It can generate images of any part of the world every 5 days, but would be used mainly to provide remote sensing data for users monitoring deforestation in the Amazon forests. The other 18 satellites, including a flock of 12 space bees from the US and another group of 3 satellites called UnitySat, jointly developed by students of 3 engineering colleges, GPR Institute of Technology, Sri Perambur GH Raisoni College of Engineering, Nagpur, and Sri Shakti Institute of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. In addition, the mission also carried a nano satellite developed by Space Kids India that is intended to study space weather and demonstrate long-range communication technologies. This launch was expected to carry the Pixels, called as Anand satellite, the company who wants to build a constellation of Earth's imaging satellites. Less than a week before the launch, the company announced that due to certain software issues during testing, it would not go ahead with the launch of the satellite at the time. Given the time and effort that has gone into making the satellite, it did not make sense to rush a satellite to launch in which we do not have complete confidence at this time, said by an official. We have thus decided to push our launch by a few weeks, reevaluate the satellite software and test it rigorously over the next few weeks as we look for the next closest launch opportunity. Prime Minister also congratulated Brazilian President by a tweet. So what's next for ISRO? ISRO is lining up its geoimaging satellite GSAT-1 next. This launch using a GSLV F-10 rocket was originally planned for March 5 last year but was postponed a day before blastoff. Second news, SN-10 underwent a static fire test on 25th of February for the test flight preparation. This was the vehicle's second test, as the first one, which was conducted on 23rd Feb, pointed out an issue with one of the vehicle's Raptors. The company replaced that engine with a new one and tested the prototype 2 days later. If the results are satisfying for the team, we could witness another launch just like SN-8 and SN-9 soon for the SN-10. Even SN-10 will fly to an altitude of about 10 kilometers. Both SN-8 and SN-9 crashed on their landing sites, failing to stand upright, and this time we can expect a clean landing for the SN-10. SpaceX is developing Starship to get people and cargo to the moon, Mars and beyond. The system consists of 2 fully reusable elements, a 165-foot tall, that is 50 meters spacecraft called Starship, and a huge rocket known as Super Heavy. The final Starship will have 6 Raptors and Super Heavy will be powered by about 30 of the engines. The final operational Starship could be flying soon if all goes according to plan. SpaceX hopes to launch a prototype into orbit sometime this year. Orbital Assembly Corporation recently unveiled new details about its ambitious Voyager station, which is projected to be the first commercial space station operating with artificial gravity. Its team of skilled NASA veterans, pilots, engineers and architects intend to assemble a space hotel in low Earth orbit that rotates fast enough to generate artificial gravity for vacationers, scientists, astronauts, educators and anyone else who wants to experience off-Earth living. Voyager station is patterned after concepts imagined by legendary rocket scientist Wernher von Braun, one of the main orchestrators of NASA's Apollo program. The 60-foot wide, that is 200 meters wheel-shaped habitat will spin with an angular velocity high enough to create moon-like levels of artificial gravity for occupants. Designed by Gateway Foundation executive team member and lead architect Tim Alator, Voyager will become the biggest human-made structure in space, fully equipped to accommodate up to 400 people. Assembly is scheduled to begin around 2025, Gateway Foundation representatives said. This This shining technological ring will feature amenities ranging from themed restaurants, resorts, viewing lounges, movie theaters, and concert venues to bars, libraries, gyms, and a health spa. Long before Voyager station can start accommodating guests, OSA needs to test both building a station in low Earth orbit and prove the viability of stable artificial gravity in space. The company plans to construct a prototype gravity ring that will measure 200 feet, that is 61 meters in diameter, and will be engineered to spin up to create artificial gravity near Mars level, which is about 40% that of Earth. The gravity ring is going to be a key technological demonstration project that we plan to build, assemble, and operate in low Earth orbit in just a few years' time, said a OSA co-founder Jeff Greenblatt. Fourth news, NASA's Perseverance rover has given the best view of its Martian landing site. The car-sized Perseverance captured 360-degree panorama of its surroundings on the floor of Jezero crater, which harbored a lake and a river delta billions of years ago. The photo, which NASA released on 24th of February, is composed of 142 individual images taken by Perseverance's Mastcam Z camera system on 21st of February, which was 3 days after the rover touched down. Jezero's distant rim is visible in the new photo, as is a cliff face that's a remnant of the ancient delta. The new panorama is zoomable, so you can inspect those features and others in the foreground, including curiously holy rocks up close in the full resolution version. Perseverance is the heart of NASA's $2.7 billion Mars 2020 mission, which will seek signs of ancient Mars life in Jezero and collect dozens of samples for future return to Earth. The rover also carries several technological demonstrations, including a helicopter named Ingenuity that will attempt to become the first rotorcraft ever to fly on a world beyond Earth. After finishing Perseverance's post-landing health checkouts, the rover team will gear up for Ingenuity's pioneering flights, which will likely take place this spring. The science and sampling work will probably begin in the earnest this summer. NASA's Perseverance rover on Mars is carrying an adorable family portrait of Martian rovers. The rovers are lined up in the same order that they landed on the Red Planet, starting with the Sojourner rover, the twin Mars exploration rovers Spirit and Opportunity, the Curiosity rover, and the Perseverance. Also included is the Ingenuity helicopter, which hitched a ride to Mars with Perseverance and will be the first to attempt to fly on another planet. Fifth news, China successfully sent 3 Reconnaissance satellites into orbit on 23rd of February. A Long March 4C rocket carrying the Yaogan 31 satellites flew into space from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in the Gobi Desert, according to reports from the China's state news provider CCTV. Having entered their planned orbits, the satellite will be used for electromagnetic environment surveys and other related technology tests. China has had a busy February in space, including the successful arrival of Tianwen-1 in Mars orbit and preparation for a Mars landing. Reports that its first space station module is preparing for a flight, and ongoing examinations of rocks on the lunar far side by Yutu-2 rover and Chang'e's 4 lander. About a month ago, a launch by China's iSpace failed to reach orbit. Western defense analysts have suggested that Yaogan series is meant for the People's Liberation Army for use such as surveillance, intelligence, or reconnaissance, that considering their orbits may be similar to satellites that track vessels through radio transmissions. The satellites may include capabilities to study targets in optical wavelengths or synthetic aperture radar and could carry electronics intelligence payloads. Past launches put the Yaogan satellites at orbits of at roughly 680 miles, that is 1100 kilometers, in altitude and inclined by 63 degrees, passing over the maritime regions such as the southern Shetland Islands. Sixth news, Virgin Galactic further delays SpaceShipTwo test flights, pushing tourist flights to 2022. If you follow my news videos, you would remember the Virgin Galactic planned for a tourist flight this year, somewhere around the mid of this year, but they won't be launching tourists to space this year after technical tweaks delayed the company's upcoming test flight by more than 2 months. They encountered some technical issues and they decided to postpone the mission, which will push the company's first space tourist flight to 2022. The issue was revealed on 12th December during the suborbital test flight of the vehicle because of the electromagnetic interference EMI. Officials said that EMI caused a flight computer to reboot at the same time that the SpaceShipTwo's engine ignited. There were no injuries to the vehicle's two pilots during the aborted flight, and the vehicle landed safely. The cause for this behavior was due to a new flight control computer which likely caused the EMI, which in turn triggered the abort. Engineers tried to fix the issue but further encountered the same problem, hence they wanted to have a test flight on the 13th of February, but because of the repeated problem, they were unable to do so. Virgin Galactic plans to get the vehicle off the ground for this test flight in May, followed by 2 more test flights. The first of those additional flights will hold only the 2 pilots, while the second will include Virgin Galactic employees riding along as test passengers in the vehicle's cabin. These test flights will be followed by a 4th flight for the Italian Air Force, which will carry research payloads along with payload specialists. The company also announced on the call that it will be rolling out the next iteration of its suborbital vehicle dubbed SpaceShipTwo on March 30th. Following this rollout, the company aims to start flight testing the vehicle in the summer at the same time as the SpaceShipTwo. The future of the fleet rollout March 30th. Virgin Galactic tweeted on 25th of February along with a promo image of what appears to be the vehicle. Following this test, the company will implement enhancements and accelerate some long-term maintenance updates to the White Knight 2 aircraft, also known as the VMS Eve, which carries both suborbital vehicles up into the air. Then it will be the time for paying customers to step aboard. At the conclusion of this period, we expect that VSS Unity will begin flying private astronauts and SpaceShipTwo will be in position to complete its flight testing, which we expect to be in early 2022, said by the official. Despite the continued delays for which representatives partially placed blame on the coronavirus pandemic, the company is excited about the year ahead. The official also said that, looking ahead, we are focused on completing our test flight programs, expanding our fleet of spaceships and motherships, and developing our unique and transformative customer experience. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share the video. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching and staying till the end. Until next time, keep learning and keep enjoying. Thank you. Don't forget to watch my other videos.